Have you ever opened the charts on TradingView and felt absolutely confused? Felt a little bit overwhelmed with all the indicators that you've got cluttering your screen? Well, what if I actually told you that you could master the markets with raw price action? No indicators, no confusion, just clean, powerful analysis. Now in today's video, I'm going to show you how to master price action trading, the exact steps. So I'm going to give you everything step by step, show you everything in terms of patterns, mindset, and all of that so that you can become a confident, consistent trader. Stick around until the very end of this video because at the end, I'll also be dropping a free PDF that you can actually get access to have your lovely checklist for your price action trading strategy. So let's get right into it. Hey, welcome back. If you're new to this space, I'm Kerry, and today we're getting all in on price action. Now, you may be wondering, what is price action? Price action is literally the raw language of the market. Every candle, every wick tells a story. That's price action. Now I'm going to break it down and simplify it for you so that you fully understand how to read price action to make consistent profits in the financial market. Now, because we fully understand that every candle, every wick tells a story, it's very important for us to identify who's in control. Is it the buyers or the sellers? And where are the key battle zones that these buyers and sellers are fighting to win? Where are these zones on the charts? And once price gets to these zones, what is likely to happen next? Now, this is really what you need to be reading into on a daily basis, because unlike indicators, price reaction is really important. It helps you to anticipate moves based on market psychology. So think of it as learning to read between the lines on the charts. Now we're going to break this down into 3 quick subsections. Subsection number 1 is pay keen attention to support and resistance, right? Horizontal zones where price reacts. These are decision areas. Price either bounces or breaks from these areas. So one of the key things you want to do is to focus on zones and not exactly lines. So even though we've got lines on the charts, we can literally use our rectangle tools to identify these zones where price is actually bouncing or rejecting directly from. Subsection number 2 is focusing on market structure. We want to see price creating those lower lows and lower highs for a downtrend and higher highs and higher lows for an uptrend. So we want to be able to use structure to avoid trading against the trend. Remember, the trend is your friend. Now, subsection number 3 is mastering the art of identifying price action candlesticks. Now you've got to understand some powerful candles like our pin bar, otherwise known as the hammer. It really signifies rejection and possible reversal. You've got engulfing candles, be it bullish or bearish. They generally show you momentum shifts. And you also have inside bars, which really you often have these appearing, during a consolidation mode just before a breakout. So once you master these basics, you're already on your way to becoming a skilled trader within the financial markets. So take these tips, run with them, utilize them, and make profits with them. Now, with that said, let's jump right into evaluating price action at its best. So we're on the charts and I'm literally going to be showing you a step-by-step walkthrough of how to analyze a chart using pure price action, right? So pure price action, how do we do this when we're analyzing a chart? Now, I love starting with the 4-hour time frame. Right now, one of my favorite things to say is when in doubt, we zoom out. So when we zoom out, this is really to find the higher time frame structure. So you can either start with the daily or you can do this on the 4-hour. I generally do it on the 4-hour charts. And what I'm actually looking for is I'll be marking out major support and resistance zone. And this can help you to, remember support and resistance. Support is if price is sitting on that area, that is support, right? If price is actually, rejecting that area and we're dropping from there, then that's your resistance area. So let's zoom out, because when in doubt, we zoom out, right? We're literally on NASDAQ. And I'm going to be highlighting some of these zones. I'm going to be taking my horizontal line, right, on the 4-hour time frame, and I'm marking out my resistance areas here. Now, this is literally one, right? And we're looking for as much touch as possible when it comes on to these zones. So you can see that this is resistance, then we broke through and we were sitting on it for support, right? And then you can see that we've got, let's do, I like doing zones that are common with a lot of touches. So we'll do that one, right? And then had some resistance here, support again. All right, when in doubt, we zoom out. So there's quite a few plays here. Had resistance, then we have support once we broke through. And same thing here, resistance, broke through. Right, so these are some common zones. We'll stick to this for now. Now, once we do this on the higher time frame, the key is actually to zoom in on the lower time frame. So at least go to the 1 hour and we can look if our lines add up. Look, we're sitting on this one, right? We're rejecting off this one. Have some rejection in here as well. So I could put another one in here to get as many touches so we can have some showing a rejection point right here. Yeah, right? Okay. And we've got some right here. And we've got one right here too, multiple right here. If you look across, you'll see it. Yeah, perfect. Now, let's look on the 15-minute and we'll zoom in just to make sure we've got them clean and smooth when it comes on to here. This is here. This could come down right here a bit. Had some rejection right here too. Look. Look. Nice and clean. Nice touch right here as well. Right here. We're sitting on it. Then we had some resistance here. Yeah. All right, perfect stuff for the most part. Yeah, had some rejection right off this area. Now we don't want to crowd the entire charts. We just want to find these zones where we have multiple rejections, right? Multiple. So you can see that we've got quite a few touches here, a bit of slippage here and there. And we'll touch on this one here. Because look, we've got some more interplay right there. Nice and easy. Got some zones here, some little small ones. Yeah, because resistance, and you can see that at some point we were sitting on it. All right, nice and easy. So why do we do this? This is giving us perspective as key reaction zones on the charts, right? And what we're looking for at these areas when we've highlighted them, we're literally looking for a wick rejection, and we're looking for engulfing candles or break and retest of these structures, right? So that's literally what we're looking for. One of three things, or it could be all. Wick rejection, engulfing candle, or break and retest, right? And I want you to understand this. The best trades happen at confluences, meaning that they happen at these key zones when structure, zones, and price action all align, right? So we do these markups of our key support and resistance zone to kind of highlight these areas so that we can see the reaction of these areas to take our trades. Okay, so if I know that we've rejected off here, a rejection of a particular zone, right? So if we see rejection here, there is a strong possibility that we can do a similar rejection when we come back here. If we're bouncing from a zone, a particular zone, chances are when we come back to that zone, we can also bounce, right? So we're looking for high probability at these areas. So if you look at it like so, we were here, we bounced, came all the way up here, right? And then we came back here, we bounced again. So this is literally showing you these key zones that you can take your trades from, because there is potential that we do the same thing. The market behavior is repetitive. Always remember that. All right. All right. So previously we were bouncing from here, and you can see that we did. Then we had resistance here. We broke through it, right? Came back down, and we are playing against the zone. So I want you to understand that market behavior is repetitive. So if I know right here that I've bounced from here previously, I could be setting a trap for whenever market comes back here. And if I see a wick rejection and an engulfing candle, then that's telling me chances are we're gonna bounce again from the same zone, right? Now, literally, if we're rejecting off here and we come back to this area, chances are it's letting us know that whenever we come back here, there's strong possibility that we can reject and fall just like we did, right? Same thing here. We came, pulled back into this zone, rejected, rejected again. Possibilities that whenever we come here, we're going to do the same thing, which we kept doing. We kept rejecting from this area. A little bit of liquidity grab right here. And then, of course, you can see that we dropped massively, right? So I want you to look for these key reaction zones. If I know that price is reacting from this area here, chances are whenever we come back here, we are going to react. Sometimes you're going to get liquidity grab here and there, and then we'll come back. Look, we bounced from this area right here. And what we did, we literally came back to the same area and we bounced again. So I want you to pay keen attention to zones like these where you have strong rejections, strong bouncing points, and be able to capitalize on moves in these areas. Right? I hope you're understanding clearly what I'm saying. Now I'm going to be showing you my go-to price action strategy when it comes on to break and retest, because I love doing that, right? With price action confirmation. So I'm going to be showing you how it actually works, right? On the charts. All right. So this is generally what I look for on a typical day. Now, we had a key reaction zone right here. So I see that we've clearly broken out of that reaction zone. So one of the key things that I generally look for is that price breaks a key level, right? and then we pull back into that key level to make it support. So this was resistance here previously, as you can see. So what I'm looking for is that we break above, which we did. Now I'm waiting on us to pull back into this resistance zone to turn it into support, right? Once it pulls back to retest this level, I'm waiting for a confirmation candle like a pin bar or a bullish engulfing candle, right? And then I'll be entering on the next candle with my stop loss below the wick. This really works great in trending markets, right? And especially trading at the right time. So let me show you how we do this. We're waiting on it to pull back. So the moment we pull back into the zone, right? So we break the zone, nice break. And we're waiting for that pullback into the actual line. Perfect. So look at this. We pull back here and we've got that nice bullish candle here. All right, let's see. All right, so there we go. So literally, I could be taking my trade right now. Right here, I'd be setting up for a long position right here. And my stop is going to be right below this area. And I'm going to be aiming for at least a 1 to 2, right? At least 1 to 2. That'd be good enough. All right, so literally aiming for 1 to 2. And I put my stop below my no support because this is no support. I've got a little stop below it. And let's see how this plays in our favor. All right, so we're pushing. There we have it, nice and easy, would have smashed profits. And obviously this would have hit a major area, a major zone right here. And that's why we had the massive rejection to the downside, right? So you want to be able to highlight these areas, these key reaction zones, because oftentimes when price comes back into these areas, it's going to have some amount of reaction, right? As you can clearly see, we got a massive move to the downside with this right here. And as soon as we hit this area, we bounced. So you want to be able to identify these zones and be able to take your trades and make profits within the financial markets using pure price action, right? So we had a drop here, and you can clearly see once price hit this level, we dropped massively, right? So really easy when it comes on to price action. You just want to be able to identify where we're having constant bounces and constant rejection of price, right? So resistance and support areas, and be able to take your trades. Now I want to drop some psychology mastery tips when it comes on to trading using price action so that you can understand that price action is simple, but it's not always easy, right? Here's how to truly master it. One, you've got to be patient, right? The best setups, they take time to appear, meaning that if we're waiting on price to come back into this zone, it would take time for us to get back into the zone, for us to see the reaction and take the sell, right? Focus on fewer trades that are of better quality, meaning that we look for these zones that have strong, pressure coming from them like this, right? We were previously right here as support. Now we become resistance. So these are strong points, strong zones that we will potentially have reactions from, right? So focus on fewer trades of better quality at these key zones, right? Journal your trade every day, right? Because this helps to refine your edge in the market, and it helps you to identify what you're doing wrong and what you need to be improving on. Stick to your trading plan. Don't have FOMO. Don't chase trades, but backtest your setups, backtest your strategy, and know your statistics behind how you trade and what you actually trade. Consistency comes from discipline, not complexity. Do not make trading complicated. Do not make it complex. Simplicity we use to survive every day and make profits in the financial markets. I'm telling you. So be sure to look for these key reaction zones and wait on price to get back into them for you to take your setups. We're looking for zones that have strong reactions on a daily basis, right? Especially those that have those, strong reaction when it comes on to the touches. Yeah, look at this strong reaction zone. When we came back here, we would have bought, and you can clearly see that we've done it here as well. Right? We're looking for these strong areas. As I said, this was a strong rejection here, and clearly you can see that when we came back into the zone, we sold as well. Right? Another strong reaction zone. So potentially when price comes back here, we could potentially reject. Sorry. Right? Right here as well. Previously, when we came here, we bought, and you can see that when we came back here, we bought as well. So I want you to pay keen attention to all these movements on the chart. When we were here previously, look, we sold and we came back to the same area and we pushed down a bit. So pay attention to these key reaction zones. Be able to take your setups from these areas. Wait until price gets back into these key zones and take your trade based on what market gives, what price action gives, right? And you'd be able to find plausible setups to make profits in the financial markets, right? So price action, as I said, it's easy. Sometimes it's a little bit all over the place, but look for your zones. Look for the key reaction zones and take your trades at these areas. So this is literally how you master price action. You can go from your 4-hour time frame or your daily time frame, highlight these key reaction zones, come down to the lower time frame on your 15-minute, refine the zones, and be able to wait on setups to come into these areas, look for wick rejection, possible break and retest, or engulfing candles to be able to take your setups. And that's literally it. Now, literally, if you enjoyed this video or you're finding any value from it, be sure to smash the like button, drop a comment. If you found value, you can say that I did and say thank you. That would be awesome. Always remember that you have a family here at the All Stars camp. You are able to click the link below and join the team of all stars who are making profits all day, every day within the financial markets. Now, with that said, remember to put God first in everything you do, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.